RNZ News at 11. Kia ora tātou, I'm Evie Ashton. Hawke's Bay Civil Defence is warning people who live near rivers, streams and other waterways to be prepared to evacuate. The warning particularly applies to those living in central Hawke's Bay and areas north of Napier, including Eskdale, Tutira and Wairoa. Officials ask that people have a grab bag ready to go and keep an eye on the weather forecast. The same weather system that hammered Tairāwhiti over the past 3 days is now moving south. Central Hawke's Bay has already had large amounts of rain and a boil water notice is in place for Waipukuro. Civil Defence authorities in Gisborne are warning residents to inspect their properties carefully after the deluge of the last couple of days, as some damage may take time to appear. Tairāwhiti Civil Defence's David Wilson says staff have been inspecting damaged properties in Gisborne, Tolaga Bay and Tokomaru Bay today and plan to reach more tomorrow.
Walk around your property, particularly if you're up on a hill. Are there any new cracks in the ground? Is anything that looks like it's moved? And if there has, please get in touch with us here at Council. We're more than happy to get our building inspectors or our geotech team out just to come and have a look and assess to make sure that your house is safe for us.
David Wilson says Civil Defence hasn't yet been able to reach all affected properties as many communities remain cut off with major damage to several roads and bridges. Earlier this evening, State Highway 2 between Gisborne and Opotiki opened, as well as a stretch of State Highway 35 to Tolaga Bay. Australia has accepted a long-standing New Zealand offer to take refugees from detention centres in the Pacific. The deal, to take 150 refugees a year for 3 years, aims to rehome some of the thousands of refugees who have travelled to Australia by boat and then been placed in detention. Initially, it will cover those held on Nauru or in Australia for regional processing and will be counted as part of New Zealand's annual intake of 1,500 refugees. Until now, Australian authorities have cited concerns refugees could claim Kiwi citizenship and then return. Taranaki has recorded its first COVID-19 related death today. The elderly person was being cared for at Taranaki Base Hospital in New Plymouth. 655 new cases of COVID have been reported in Taranaki today, down from yesterday's record number of 769. There are 16 people, including one child, with COVID-19 in Taranaki Base Hospital. For the first time, engineers will be able to be kicked out of the profession for doing a poor job if proposed legislation is passed. Cabinet has agreed to make major changes to a week regime that's allowed 38,000 engineers to practice while unregulated. Accountability for the collapse of the CTV building in the Christchurch earthquake was never sheeted home. The changes make registration mandatory, require licensing in high-risk fields, and set up a regulator that could kick out rogue engineers. Man Al-Kazi, whose wife died in the CTV collapse, says it's the first major good news in 11 years for families of victims. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is entering its second month. Ukraine's president has appealed to people around the world to mark their support for his country. The BBC's Les Doucette reports from the capital, Kyiv.
A month ago, in the early hours of February 24th, President Zelensky spoke in Russian to the people of Russia, urging them to try to stop the invasion. Speaking in his office then in a suit, he said he had initiated a call to President Putin, but it was met by silence. Now, in a speech marking 1 month, he's made a direct appeal in English to people around the world. Show where you stand, he said. Go into your squares and streets with Ukrainian symbols. Make your voice heard to stop this war.
NATO, meanwhile, is about to begin a crisis summit in Brussels. Musician Troy Kingi has won top honours in this country's prestigious songwriting award. Kingi has won the 2021 APRA Silver Scroll Award for All Your Ships Have Sailed. The song, from his album The Ghost of Freddie Cesar, reminisces about his biological father who disappeared in 2005 and takes inspiration from a mysterious cassette tape found in his father's belongings. The 2021 awards were postponed 3 times because of COVID before the ceremony was moved online. And a person has died in a crash on Auckland's motorway. The two-car crash happened on State Highway 1 in the southbound lanes just after Gillies Ave at around 8:10. A second person has been taken to hospital with serious injuries. That's the news.